Right. So there are about 256 bars of gold in a ton. Right. 256. 256 bars of gold in a ton. So, according to the calculator, if I've got this right, seems a lot actually, but it's meant to be 104,657 bars of gold that Glenn Brown sold. 104,000, so it's just over 100,000. 104,657. So the government had just over 100,000 by 4,657, which 4,657 bars of gold is a lot, but 104,657, right? It's quite a bit. So 657 is a round off number from 104, 4,657. So what I'm saying is, wouldn't it have been interesting if a couple of ambassadors rocked up? A couple of ambassadors turned up. A couple of ambassadors turned up with 4,657 bars of gold and said, "Oh, do you want these back? We're donating them. You can have them, Speaker. It's a gift." Well, is it a gift for you or would a gift to the government? Well, he did kind of sell us them off and the price has gone up and the price doubled. So now we've actually got some excess money because, we'll give you this as a present because those bars of gold now are worth twice as much. And, now that, obviously you kindly sold us them and, we've got this excess. Every bar's worth twice as much. So, we thought we'd give you that as a gift, just to help your country out, seeing they're suffering, So the Speaker is going to have to, he'd have to pay for them personally then. Is that true? The Speaker must pay the difference greater than 300. For any gifts that the Speaker wishes to keep and which have an estimate. But why a particular value though? Right? The whole point of the justice is that they can't have gifts to serve justice. Now this is a thing, right? Not everyone may end up in a court. I mean, you might give a judge a gift, right? But you might never commit a crime, right? But if you did commit a crime and you've received a gift, that's a bit of an awkward situation, right? But if you're always giving gifts to them, then just in case you get into trouble sometime, it's that's my good friend who gives me gifts very often. Well, also, if you ever get in trouble with a police chief and you've given him plenty of gifts, bought him some nice new speed cameras and, authorised funding for his new, cameras everywhere for surveillance that he likes to use and his new helicopter that he flies everywhere, then, if you ever get in trouble, after approving all those things for him, particularly if you are the government or the Prime Minister, don't worry. All those nice things are approved. Office, in exchange for office, in exchange for office as well. Giving him a good office in exchange for it, all those things. But, this is it. We used to elect sheriffs. If sheriffs are getting cameras everywhere, we're not too keen on that, so maybe we shouldn't have a sheriff who's wanting to get cameras everywhere. We don't get to elect the police anymore, unfortunately, which is a major critical flaw in this country. Only the commissioner of the police or the police chief, the PCC, Police and Crime Commissioner, and the police have decided, if you can complain as much as you want to the police, but if they don't investigate it, you're screwed, so effectively, it's not good at the moment with the police because we aren't getting to use the law. It's an exclusive thing for this exclusive organisation or group to do and use, and the CPS. Which is why I don't think that take our right to petition seriously with Parliament, and we've got like a baby form on the website with 10 characters, and if you're very lucky like Teslarian, you've got loads of academics who will rack signatures up. You can get to sit in a special room and have it debated by politicians, but apparently they can't make an order. Apparently, the committee chair can't actually make a judicial order and say, okay, then, we'll stop the WHO from doing this or that, which is quite pointless. It's almost like it's had all its authority and power taken from it. It would be something if they had all the power and authority taken from the police, but unfortunately don't. It's us that have had all the power and authority taken from us and not upheld and given to this exclusive group of people called the police who get to use it. So Hoyle wouldn't be able to keep the gold bars, even if he wanted to, because there's no way that he could afford to, for himself. I don't think that he'd be able to afford to pay for 4,655 gold bars, which are estimated value greater than 300. Although, just a minute, let me kind of work this out here a minute. How much was one gold bar worth? Where do they go to those gifts if you can't keep them? Does he just discard them, give them to charity? Is it just like a symbolic thing, and then he gives it to charity so they get the photograph and the news are there, and it's all like, is it almost like an Extinction Rebellion action? Put the paint on the wall, and they're gonna have to remove it off or get done for it. But it says, sack Lord Walney or whatever it says, and that has done its purpose and gone. Is it kind of like that? They turn up. They've got some exotic gifts for the speaker and, smile, take the photographs, stuff, and then it's all, goes around the world. Everyone in Thailand is, like jumping up and down like as if Maradona scored a goal, and, then 007, pops his head up in a bar and in Fiji, and he's got Scorpion in it, and then he realises, oh, we've got problems in England, the speaker's taking bribes from foreign countries. I better get back and sort it out, something along those lines. What is it now? Oh yeah, 1 gold bar. How much can you buy one for? Oh, it's about $2,000. They're about $2,000, although those don't look like the ones that you see in the movies. They're about $2,000. They're about £2,000. So I thought, well, if each person as a separate gift gives him a gold bar, he might be able to keep it, but he can't afford that £300 each because they're worth $2,000 each. So if they were a bit lower, if they were mini bars. For you can get mini Cadbury's eggs. So you can't have a Cadbury's egg, but if they're mini Cadbury's eggs, so no, you can't accept. If the Prime Minister of Venezuela comes over and says you can have a bar of gold, he couldn't. But if they were like mini eggs, mini chocolate eggs instead of a Cadbury's egg, so like mini bars of gold, £2,000, so that's like $2,000. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. So if you split, so like 10. So if you look like 10 mini bars of gold from one, so if she's got like 10. So if you have one bar of gold split into 10 mini egg gold, mini nuggets, you could do it that way. You could have 10 wise men, right? 10 wise men, okay? 10 wise men come from Orient are, bearing gifts, they travel afar. There's a speaker, ha ha ha. And then, here's some bars of gold. You could each give him a mini egg nugget of a bar of gold. Just 10 mini nuggets. And then that's separate gifts from separate, officials. So he could have that. You could have them each. They're all separate gifts from different persons. So then, obviously, when he gets home, there's nothing preventing him after he's received these separate gifts under £300 to melt them all down. He can melt them all down back into the bar again and say, oh, look, I made a bar of gold out of all these separate gifts. It's almost like saying that someone gave me a toilet roll tube, a couple of pencils, and an egg, Mr. Spoon. It's almost like, Button Moon. Like, I've made a spaceship out of some bean tins, like Elon Musk, flying it around the planet, push the red button to land. This is it. You could actually, look, I made a bar of gold out of loads of mini eggs. Mini Cadbury's egg. Look, I made a Cadbury's egg out of loads of mini eggs. It's Easter. So you could do that, and a speaker could have that. And effectively, so that's one bar of gold. 10 wise men come at Christmas. One bar of gold. It might take a fair few, sessions. It might take a fair few visitors. It might take a fair few people. But looking at that photograph when he's in that room with all those different people, if they're all bringing gifts, he could tally up. Could possibly tally up 400 bars of gold there, and if he doesn't have to, pay the excess, if they're delivered as separate gifts of mini eggs from each individual, it's like bricks, isn't it? It's like bricks. Jeremy Corbyn would like that, wouldn't he? And I think George Galloway would like it. Bricks. The speaker's bricks. The speaker's bricks. Maybe if he did get them all given separately as mini eggs, and then he could take them, say, I've been given all these separate mini egg gifts from all these different people, but they're 100, 300 quid. So then he could go down, he might have to go, to a MI5 or somewhere, because he'd need more than his bar guy to protect it. Then you're looking at going into Q's lab, and maybe Q could melt it down into one bar for him, so it's easier to carry around. And then Mr. Goldfinger, where's the freaking laser? Where's the freaking laser? That's one good way for Goldfinger. Goldfinger could laser those bars of gold that Gordon Brown sold off into separate mini egg nuggets, and then he could smuggle it in as gifts from Orient R, bearing gifts who travel afar, and then the speaker could, after he's received them, technically, make them back into bars of gold again. But they might not end up back in the government. They might not end up back in the treasury. He might just keep them himself. But so yeah, he could theoretically rack up a few a good fair few gold bars in gifts. He could just give it to the government. But what does he do with them if it's over a certain amount of money, right? What happens to those gifts? Does he have to dispose of them? And are they stupid enough to give them? Or is it all symbolic, paintings, Mona Lisas, and so forth? Or maybe he can give it to the government. But then again, the government's not allowed to accept gifts, surely. I'm not too sure about this whole gift-giving thing, if he is a judge. And I thought maybe MPs, because MPs don't make orders that often or judgments unless they're in a committee. But the speaker is meant to be a judge. I hope that some of these foreign people, companies, businesses aren't lobbying England through international companies like, I don't know, UPS, DHL, because now what I'm starting to think now in my brain is like David Cameron, I'm the Prime Minister of England, some gifts here, David, do you want a couple of golden mini eggs? Oh yes, thank you. And then it's strangely enough, I'm David Cameron. I've just had a thought come into my head. Why don't we sell off Royal Mail to DHL? And, it'll be all hunky-dory, make a competitive market, Oh, David, was that a favour? Didn't ever receive any gifts from your financial investors overseas, And, look, it's David Cameron, the Prime Minister, will give him a gift. It's under £300, but when he melts it back down together, it makes up a bar of English gold. It's all right, no favours here. Then, well, it's my favourite gift giver. He owns DHL overseas. Oh, well, yeah, of course I'll sell it off. Of course the British government will sell you off our resources and assets. This is the thing, Mr. Cameron. This is what I'm thinking here. The Speaker of Parliament surely is a judge. What is hospitality? The Hospitality Register records hospitality offered to the Speaker from a third party, not directly related to his parliamentary role, which he accepts. This is who made these rules up? David Cameron. There were none of this business on the BBC, were there, when you were growing up? Non-regular travel. The Speaker is an ambassador for the House of Commons. But I thought we'd already got ambassadors. We've got ambassadors. Although I suppose Charles is no good ambassador for the House of Commons if he's not allowed in there. Haven't they got a minister? Haven't they got the Minister of Ambassadors? They got Secretary of State for Transport, Secretary of State for Justice, Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport. The King's Horseshoer. Haven't they got an ambassador already? You'd have thought the Speaker would be the most busiest person in Parliament with all those matters to deal with and sort out. But it can't be that complicated. But all those MPs that have had things to say to him to sort out during sessions, yeah, I'll sort it out with you later. There's about 50 of them lined up, and then he's got to see his own constituents. How does he do it? And then they're saying that people can't get surgery appointments. They're saying, no one can get a surgery appointment slot with an MP. Because when they manage to get to see one, then the whole country's locked down. And I won't ever see Mark Eastwood again because he's been voted out. Regular inter-parliamentary conferences and meetings the Speaker is expected to attend include G7 Speakers Conference, the G20 Speakers Conference, the Commonwealth Speakers, and what is he doing with the Commonwealth? He's meant to arrange and negotiate debates in Parliament between speakers and sort out what's happening with government and things, all kinds of things. Presiding Officers Conference, the European Speakers Conference, Council of Europe, the Speakers on the Isles meetings, and the Quad meeting of speakers in the United Kingdom. Why is he doing... Oh, fair enough, Commonwealth, but G7. What's all this G7? That all seems a little bit World Economic Forum, WHO, and out of the context of the Speaker of Parliament. Fair enough, if the speakers of the Commonwealth, like, Canada and Australia, are connected to England. But Council of Europe, we've left Europe. There's a lot of functions that are meant to be provided to the public, things that need to be sorted out with the public, particularly with all these petitioning, which hardly really get read out that often. And then when you do, the committees don't seem to have any judicial authority anymore. You just read it. Read the Parliament sessions, William Orange, or, get this sorted out, or I'll refer it to my committee, right? We'll make all right, with the chair. Right, this is happening. We'll make an order then. Right. It's like seeing a councillor. Can I get the bins emptied? Or I can authorise that. Yeah, or I'll put an order through. I'll put an order through to get bins emptied, the judicial authority. We're not getting any orders put through. They're like, it's almost like just like a pantomime. Can we have a nativity play? Oh, well done, children. You got 100,000 signatures. Here's a gold star. Now you can have a little role play game in Parliament. Here's Tess. Come on, Tess. Sit down on the chair. And now Mark Monboyce or whatever will pretend that they're going to have a little pretend court session. And, the MPs are like the jury. The jurors, and and then there's the judges at the front, who they're going to debate and argue, and you brought the evidence, and then they'll make an order on it. The MPs will vote, and then that will be it. The plump lady will sing, and she'll say, "The ayes have it," and I'll slam the hammer down, and that's it. Stop ULEZ. That's it. We'll put an order through. We are stopping ULEZ. I'll get the speaker to put that through and tell them the committee have decided, and then that's done. Done and dusted. Stop ULEZ. Franchise and Gareth Johnson. The votes were cast. Labour didn't turn up. Labour didn't even bother turning up. They could have turned up and voted against it. They didn't bother. No, don't worry. We just pretend now. It's a nativity play. It's like police. We're pretending that you in control of the law and what crimes get investigated because you've got a telephone. You can ring 999, but it's just a pretend phone. Nothing's really going to happen, unless it's someone get headbutted or, murdered or something. It's the police investigate what they want to investigate. Don't worry, they're looking for criminals. You don't need to pick up the telephone and ring 999. Let alone, you don't have to do anything. No. You don't have to arrest anyone or, gather any evidence or, bring anyone into the station or, nothing like that. Get any fingerprints. Don't worry about that. We've got an organisation. They do all that business. You don't get involved in that. But, you can collect a few signatures and we'll have a little pantomime show for you and we'll play pretend. Now we're going to make some law in England. Ooh, didn't Tess do well? She's got herself a judicial hearing in Parliament. Yes, with 3 judges. And she's got herself a room full of MPs who decided to turn up. We're going to vote on it. Here we go. Let's do some law. Let's got all this serious evidence in now. Very, very serious. And the MPs are going to vote. Oh, where are the MPs who are opposed to it? Oh, they didn't turn up. There's only one Labour woman there. One opponent, one opposition, representing Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London. Oh, what a shame, poor Sadiq. Well, don't worry, they're not all going to vote, 50-1, are they? They're not already going to go vote 50-1 and say the ayes have it, are they? And then, you don't think that plump lady at the front's really going to hit her hammer down and say, and the ayes have it. It's ordered. Stop ULEZ. No. This is a pantomime. It's pretend. We can't give you that much power because then you would be able to get yourself a judicial hearing in Parliament that holds authority in England. You might be able to get the tampon tax changed. God forbid. God forbid that. We can't give you that kind of power. We can't have Laura Croxteth, Corrigan going around and getting 200,000 signatures and getting herself a judicial hearing in Parliament and having a couple of MPs. What if every single woman MP in Parliament turns up and none of the men? Look, the committee room is full of women. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. It's ordered. Tampon tax is lowered. Bloody hell. Bloody hell, Theresa. What do you think this is? A play school pantomime? It's a nativity play. Look, there's Jesus Christ being born at the front of the committee room. And now we'll sing prayers. Let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, our Speaker who art in heaven, hallowed be his name. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done in a committee room as it is in the main chamber. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we are protected by privilege, and you are not. That's if you can get us to even discuss the matter, unless you're Boris Johnson, and then you'll have to go home because you're a very naughty boy. This is it. And, now we'll have our presents of gold, frankincense and myrrh. Do you care to give the judge a present, Oh, it's just Judge Jesus. It's Judge Jesus. Have you taken your oath, Judge Jesus? Oh, I cannot take any gifts. I'm sorry, wise men, you'll have to go now. Well, we've brought you gold, frankincense and myrrh, all the way from exotic lands far away. Well, I'm sorry, but I've taken an oath with God. I can't accept gifts in exchange for religion, in exchange for Christianity. blessings. It has to be impartial blessings. I'm sorry about that, and there's no entertainment here either, because all this glowing light around me and all this divine heavenly glory that's illuminated everywhere. It's not there to entertain. If it was, then you might end up favouring me and decide to convert, and then that wouldn't be a fair conversion, would it, over to Christianity? Because then I'm offering entertainment. All this, parting the seas and walking on water and raising myself back from the dead and healing Lazarus and all that. It's not a magic show. So some kind of, magic show that I'm putting on for you. If you come over to Christianity because I've entertained you for a magic show, it wouldn't be fair, would it? It wouldn't be a fair vote, Can't do that. So, this is it. What even is this managed travel? Regular, alright, so it's travel when he's going about. I wonder if he's protected with privilege for that. Official entertainment. Right, this is what I'm concerned about. It's the government. The government aren't allowed to entertain people. They do politics. They make and change the law. Now, okay, if you go and see Theresa May, you might have been able to have a sherry or a cognac or a drink, but they have drinks in the cafeteria. Everyone needs to eat, you could be starving, that's not a gift. Surely it's refreshments, it's food. I don't really know if it is a gift or not. And surely we can't be exchanging sandwiches in exchange for politics. The Speaker's office holds a budget of official entertainment purposes. An event hosted by the Speaker, often in the state apartments of the Speaker's house. This ranges from dinners for international speakers and presidents to events for the whole parliamentary community, including members, staff and press, to celebrate religious festivals or house right. Okay, so it's only for like the business of Parliament kind of thing, It's only for international affairs or certain officials. I hope that it doesn't include lobbying people from corporate entities. I hope not. And I hope that it isn't exchanged for votes either. I think if it's foreign governments, it won't be in exchange for votes. But they might be influential on foreign policy, though. That's the thing. Although they've got, what they're passing this off is like, if you're this is the whole thing for company expenses, isn't it? Like a rep's car and sausages at Christmas party. This is meant to be like the Conservative Party Christmas party that Boris wasn't meant to go to, and he I didn't even know I was at a party, this is, I thought the Royals do all that kind of thing. I didn't actually think that Parliament really did it, except for a Christmas party. You'd have thought a Christmas party for staff, the clerk can have a couple of sherries or whatever for staff only. But foreign countries, isn't that like, if they're turning up and being entertained? You see, if you have guests over from a foreign country and you are wining and dining them and entertaining them, I'm not saying that you're giving them a lap dancer, but and in return for that favour, the Maharaja or whatever he is, the emperor, might say, "Oh, thank you for that entertainment the other week. I've decided that I'm going to, lower the, I'm going to, in guidance with your recommendations for foreign policy. I think I might agree with that. You did give me a good entertainment session. Although I'm not saying that's affecting my purely diplomatic opinion. Because that would be like sending an army diplomat out to Ukraine, and saying, well, well, Mr. Zelensky, you've given me a very nice drink there, and I'm sure that our countries can come to an agreement over this war, and well, thank you very much for those 6 bars of gold, and it's a very nice sandwich. It's the most tasty sandwich I've ever had in my entire life. Therefore, yes, I think we will provide you with 18 million more missiles. Yes, we will. I'll get it put through the Speaker and Prime Minister later, Mr. Zelensky, and thank you for all those drugs that you've legalised now. I had a very good time. In Ukraine. I'm off my face. We went to a couple of raves now, and I've smoked a big spliff, and Mr. Zelensky's entertained me with drugs, and I'm very happy now. I had a really good party, and I think we've decided to agree with his proposals to supply him with more missiles. Thank you very much. It's don't tell anyone that we did exchange gifts in exchange for military weapons and warfare. Can't be letting that get out everywhere, in particular Mr. Biden. Boris Johnson will be coming past in a minute, and trying to talk him out of carrying on the war with Russia. Maybe they were doing entertainments, back in the 1600s. They used to have a lot of lavish parties and so forth, but it's just that, that was their world, wasn't it, back then, and I'm not saying that it isn't now, but they're putting the photographs up, do we have to see them all? Do we really have to look at them all? Isn't that their own privy business? Isn't you don't, ironically, this is just a gut feeling, right? This is just a gut feeling, but, Ed Davey, he's like the leader of the Lib Dems. He does these videos, and he's like, got a disabled family or son or something, and he does a lot for charities. There's a lot of charity events, raising money for charities and so forth, and going to schools and things like that. He doesn't. I don't know what happens behind closed doors, but I know he's on the Privy Council of England, and he's meant to be the Right Honourable Sir Ed Davey, and he's meant to be the Lib Dem leader. And I don't know what Lib Dems get up to. There's all those photographs with them with their signs out. I don't get the impression that Sir Ed Davey, the Right Honourable Sir Ed Davey, is a man of, all these. Well, he clearly has to go to some of these type of things, but you just, from the newspaper stories, and he gets done speeding on the motorway, and a bit like Alex Ferguson, and then he's got all his charity dues, and I don't get the feeling that Ed Davey is that type of MP, even if he's a leader of a party, and leaders of parties, I'm going to get invited to a lot of things. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but he just doesn't seem like he's interested in arts, though. Maybe Lindsay Hoyle is the man for the job. I mean, he clearly likes all the gold frame paintings and elaborate backdrops and sets, and the Speaker's house and being the Speaker. Although it was, Bercow being the commercial. I think maybe this is Bercow who reformed all this, but then again, the Speaker's house looks very traditional Parliament, but Bercow was more modern and corporate. I thought Bercow would have wanted it more like a first class aeroplane, rather than ancient Parliament. Although there's not much of ancient Parliament left because it burned down, didn't it? The Painted Chamber and everything. I still think the Speaker, Lindsay Hoyle, definitely, likes the whole air of tradition and mystique around it all. The ritualistic kind of part of it. But ironically, isn't that all in the duties of the Speaker? And, regardless of how many clerks you've got and so forth. You see, the clerks like the ceremonial part of it, but they like the whole kind of walking up to the desk and, getting the book out for George Galloway and, holding it up while he reads his oath, and then, rumpling around and carrying message from the Queen, or whatever, Malcolm Jack style or whatever. there's actually work to do, isn't there? They seem to have made it now. I would have liked to have seen what the duties were back then. Like in 1640, it would have been interesting to see what the duties were and the full extent of what they've done. Because I've just got the feeling they're trying to turn it more into publicity. Like, it's got a very corporate side to it now, which is not what you see in the chamber when they're debating. But I'm starting to think that what we see happening in government, you're not allowed to talk about this, you're not allowed to talk about that. And the committees are like pantomime pretend committees. And, the petitions committee, you can't really publish anything on there serious. And they're just lying about the law. It's almost kind of like now it is some sort of front. And I just got that firework. I just got a pretty cool firework, which was you got to bury it in the floor, and it says face this to the front, face this side to the front for the display, right? It's almost kind of like now that you see none of this used to be on TV, none of this used to be on radio, none of it used to be broadcast. I mean, God knows what the MPs got up to when we sent our MP to London, but whatever they decided and did, they told us. So there was some serious heated debate and arguments on, but now they're kind of not allowed to talk about the serious things that need to be talked about because people will get too outraged or they don't want people to know certain things. So it's almost kind of like now it's become a diluted, it's been liquidated, hasn't it? And there's no judicial authority in anything. Particularly unless it's Keir Starmer wants to get something put through. And a lot of these things are like, we don't know what these lords are negotiating overseas and abroad and all these gifts and so forth, which are, they're not meant to be able to. In England, we're not allowed to give judges gifts, but then they've ended up now negotiating justice, like doing deals for justice. These justices and prosecutors will even make deals with the devil, to get the devil his dues. We don't have access to investigatory powers hardly or resources. The police have got the whole monopoly on it. David Cameron sold half of it off, and it's all being controlled. Now they're getting us to consent and accept. I think they've turned the place inside out. What I think's happening is they've moved Parliament into these businesses like Facebook, YouTube, corporate. I mean, you see this. He's on YouTube, isn't he? The speaker's actually on Twitter now. It's almost like he's moving. He's moving. They're moving onto the platforms. They're moving into the companies and businesses. Submit, consent, accept. It's almost kind of like what's left in Parliament is merely a facade, a front, going through the motions. When all the real controls now is, Royal Mail's been sold off. It's all been controlled by who owns these corporate companies. Well, that's the thing. Who owns them? Who owns all the BlackRock companies? That's the question. Because they're really running the show now. You will submit, accept. This is what you're having. These are things available. This is what we're building around you. This is your world, And if you think, making and changing the laws affects anything, if you're scared about Priti Patel taking free rights away, well, you've already consented, submitted and accepted to all our conditions, which aren't even the law. And on Facebook and YouTube, it's Murphy's Law. It's Neil Mohan's law. It's like Murphy's Law, innit? I've never thought of that. I've just realised it's like Murphy's Law. Well, it's Neil Mohan's law. It's Mark Zuckerberg's law. It's Elon Musk's law. It's Bill Gates' law. Murphy's Law. This is the thing. It's become corporate law now. And this is why the Parliament's meant to be the place that gives us authority and jurisdiction to get these... A lot of the petitions through the 1600s were like the weavers of Cirencester or, the paper makers of Chichester or whatever, guilds and so forth. It was actually about taxes, prices, a little bit like Laura Corrigan petition, but they wanted laws made and changed, a charter to be set for them, stopped, other countries not allowed to trade certain goods because it was putting us out of business. All types of commercial things, unions of workers, guilds, unions, and so forth. Skilled craftsmen like Keir Starmer. My dad was a tool maker. The Toolmakers of London Guild. We, the Toolmakers Guild of London, petition the King to restrict the import of foreign tools into England and to reduce the tax on tool making by 5 cents a shilling. And that is the United Guild of Toolmakers signed us below to the Guild Hall and met on the 16th. The citizens assembled. No, now it's Bill Gates. Yes, Bill. Yeah, well, I own all the tool making factories and I make all the tools and we sell them all on Jeff's website and Amazon. And we want to do a little bit of we've got our expensive £100 million lawyers and they're going to do a nice little lobbying proposal bill for us. Not that pretend frontage you've got at the front of the Parliament, for the commoners. The pickpockets, the pea shooters, this is the where the real deals go down. And, we want immunity privileges from, third-party copyright suits and, and so forth. This is where the real action goes on, petitioning the King, not these peasants. My dad was a tool maker, highly skilled until the Luddites, until factory owners, started making tools with machines, and then we didn't need any skills. And then Keir Starmer's dad had to smash the factories because they petitioned for minimum wage, and it was refused. And Keir Starmer's dad smashed those machines. He smashed them. They took away his skills and his work. And the government still huffed them. The Luddites huffed and they puffed, but Parliament wouldn't raise their wages. And then the toolmakers were hung from the neck until dead, and not even the best attorney in England could save them, even debate their exemption from criminal liability and make them pay for the damages of the machines. Maybe a decent solicitor could have done that. What was Denman really trying to protect the Luddites or not? This is the thing, they did have a petition going. So, who knows? But it wasn't long until they're not the Labour Party together. And then, it's all what Arthur Scargill says, wasn't it? But anyway, whatever. It's questionable if this Parliament is truly what it now appears to be at the front side, and everything's scripted and everything's like it might as well be Brookside Close, because they don't have really very serious debates behind closed doors anymore when we sent them off, and when you're in Peacock's back, Now it's like everyone's all ears, and people can learn things from it and know serious things happening going on, which we can't discuss or talk about that. Has it become a pantomime? A corporate pantomime fest where the real deals are done in the Speaker's house or in the House of Lords, Roger Moore's cocktail bar, in Dr. No's lair or wherever, in Fiji or wherever it is, or whatever. Maybe Branson Island, Baroness M, sailing over on a yacht to Branson Island. That's where it all happens, that's where all the negotiations for government are done, We're negotiating, Virgin Holidays or whatever they're negotiating. That's where the corporate deals are done, And if Branson doesn't agree, maybe his house might get struck by lightning, We don't know where that possibly came from, No one knows. Maybe it's the divine intervention of God, or maybe it's some kind of mysterious machine on a catamaran, which disappears into Q's laboratory, where they've been fixing the golden nuggets back together. 50 sovereigns in a suitcase, from Spectre. Who wrestled, this is the thing, corporate travel, Lindsay Hoyle could have, you don't know, Lindsay Hoyle could have, he could have had those golden nuggets in his sovereigns coming out of his suitcase. Oh, look, he has a suitcase of 50 sovereigns, each one from a separate ambassador from around the world. We'll melt them back together into a gold bar. It's Goldfinger. You're going to make a car out of it, He can assemble his car out of smelted gold and get it back. But, no, seriously, though, what is happening to Parliament is, it's becoming some kind of... it's just like some kind of stage show, isn't it? And the real politics is... going on in the background while we're being presented with a nativity play at the front side where they can't, say anything might upset the children or whatever. It's not a serious man meeting. Close the doors. The black rod bangs on the door of Parliament. Cromwell, how dare you enter this chamber? Privilege. Disarm your weapons. Now it's like, oh no, we can't talk about this or that in here. It might upset the children who are watching. What happened to politics in this country?